Okay, so the places that we go dictate the people that we meet, the habits that we're going to be exposed to, the information that is going to be transferred, and the energetic transfers that are going to happen. So we're going to go super extreme really quick so we can make a point. Okay? If you go to a crack house, okay? This is a crack house, okay? Where like it's broken. It looks like shit, okay? This is a crack house. And this is you, okay? Right down here, this is a church. Beautiful church, okay? It's Sunday morning, okay? It's Sunday morning, and this is a church. Okay, I'll put it right here, church. And this is you, okay? If you go to a crack house versus you go to a church, what do you think are the unspoken implications of that decision? Okay? So you go to the crack house, who are you going to meet? Well, you're going to meet crackheads, okay? So you got crackheads, and here's the little crackheads. Whoop, whoop. Here's the little crackheads, okay? Or in alternate reality, you go to a church, okay? And here's the church people, okay? And they're praying. Look, got little stick figures praying right there, okay? And they got little auras off of their heads, okay? So they're worshiping, they're smoking crack, and this is you. If you go to the crack house, what are the likely outcomes? Okay, like why would you be going to a crack house? Who goes to a crack house? What do crackheads talk about? What do crackheads do? What are the habits of a crackhead? What does their life look like? What are the influences of the crackheads? Well, to be dysfunctional, it's going to be addiction. It's going to be negative. And it's going to be absolutely nothing becoming of like who you want to be or what you want to do. Now you go to the church. Well, who goes to a church? Well, people who are seeking something greater. People who are seeking to get their cups filled. Metaphorical, metaphysical cups filled with good energy, good vibrations, music that has touched their soul, a moment to reflect. The pastor goes up and speaks. People are reflecting back on their week. People are receiving a message that is built to help them get their life in order, to add perspective, to force them to introspectively look at their life. Okay? In a crack house, it's the complete opposite. You're not getting that. And so the habits that you get from a church, so you go to church and you come home, and maybe then you're like, well, let's read some scriptures. Or you come back and you're in a really good mood. You go to the crack house, you're feeling down, you're feeling depressed. It's just absolutely not a good situation. And then up here, this is your gym. Okay? Then you go to a gym. Who's at the gym? Okay, people who are working out. Okay, you got a little stick figure guy right here. And he's got a dumbbell right here. And you got a dumbbell right here, okay? And the thing is, as we talked about before, is you still have your boundaries. So within every place that you go, where you meet people, where you're exposed to new information, exposed to new habits, new ideas, new energetic fields that you are, combining with, depending on your relation with these people. But right here, it's a two-way. So you have basically probabilities. So like you going there is probabilities. And then coming back to you is filtered. So when you go here, there's probabilities of specific outcomes. But within that place, you have your filters. So you choose who you build friendships with, who you have conversations with. So if there's a crackhead at the gym, and there's a bodybuilder at the gym, your filter is going to say, oh, I'm going to go talk to the bodybuilder. I'm going to strike up a conversation with him because those are habits. Those are an energetic exchange. And you wouldn't even have to think this. You just know it. You're not going to go talk to the guy smoking crack. You're probably going to go the opposite direction. And so you have your filter that's going to dictate the people that come back into your life potentially from it. However, you're still going to be exposed to everything you saw at that gym. You're going to be exposed to, just like you go in for 5 minutes, you're going to see people doing workouts, and you now just got your first touch point on how to do curls or how to do a bench press. Just because you saw 3 people doing bench presses and you're like, okay, that's how you do a bench press. When you go to the crack house, what happens? You see people smoking crack. And your brain's like, oh, okay, that's how you smoke crack. That's absolutely wrong. But now you can't unsee what you saw. So now you know how to smoke crack just by having seen a crackhead hit crack. And did you need that information? Absolutely not. Is it useful? Absolutely not. But your brain registered it. So now you know how a crackhead holds a crack pipe and smokes crack. Just like when you went to the gym, now you know how multiple people were exercising. So you may not know the specific form, but you have a general idea. And so if you've never lifted before and you go to a gym and you spend 20 minutes in a gym, you're going to learn and you're going to see and you're going to be influenced by watching other people perform an activity on how to effectively work out. And so you're not going to know all the nuances and all the micro mechanics, but you're going to see people like doing like deadlifts. You're going to see people doing squats. You're going to see people doing pull-ups. You're going to see people running. You're going to see people doing push-ups. And so you're like, oh, okay, this is what exercise looks like. And so you're getting touch points. And every time you go to that gym, you're fortifying your understanding of what working out looks like, what it feels like as you start to work out as well. And so that information, that influence is going into your brain. And so marketing, all marketing is they're like, hey, we know how the human brain works, okay? Human brain is trust equals frequency, okay? So, do you know what politicians do when they're running for office? And they know this. They know that all they got to do is get a message in front of you to control the narrative and get it in front of you enough times that trust equals frequency. So the frequency of the messaging builds trust in your mind. And if you don't have the discernment and the conscious awareness, this will get you every time. Like if you're like me, I look at certain people and I'm like, how do they actually believe something, a specific thing? Well, I understand how marketing works. I understand how touch points work. And so that's the same thing with beliefs and other different things. And so trust equals frequency. So when you go to the gym, you're getting new information. When you go to the crack house, you got information there too. And then you go to church, you got information there too. And in all of them, you met people there. You saw people there. And before you engage with a person, you have to you decide, like, do I want to like go and confront and approach this person and have a conversation? Do I want to ask this crackhead how to hit a crack pipe? Do I want to ask this person something about scriptures or something about prayer or something about something to do with church, Christ, faith, God? If I go to the gym, I want to ask people about diet, nutrition, a proper healthy exercise, form, stuff like that. And so everywhere you go, your brain is being exposed and it's getting touch points to reinforce different understandings. It's filling in gaps. I mean, you watch somebody do curls one time for 5 seconds. You come back in, you see someone do curls again for 5 seconds. And then you come back in another time, you see someone doing curls for a minute. You're going to have a pretty good idea how to do curls, okay? Whether you wanted to or not. Like whether you consciously wanted to, the fact that you had to watch them do curls, you're going to know how to do curls now. And so where you go matters because your brain is constantly reinforcing, indexing, learning, categorizing different things. So it's like once you see something, you can't unsee it. And then on top of it, the trust equals frequency. You know, it's like, yeah. So this is you going different places. So now we're going to take it to just like my gym one. So now we can break it into more. So now it's churches, different kinds of churches. So now it's like now church isn't just church, it's different kinds of churches to get different like subsets of beliefs, habits, activities relating to the different churches. A crack house, a meth house, a weed house, Like those are all going to be different, but you're still going to be like exposed to the same kind of habits of different behaviors. And then you go to the gyms, different gyms. You got the $10 gyms, my favorite one. It's always going to be my favorite one. I just love it. It doesn't get any better than this. So this is the $10 gym, and this is the $200 gym, okay? Different people. So they're both gyms, but now we're getting into the granularity of the people, the psychology of the people that congregate in specific places. So, I mean, just think of hierarchically. Like, think of a congregation versus a pastor. So if you were to put pastors in a room and you were to put the congregation in a room, do you think the conversations would be different? Do you think the questions asked would be different? Do you think the perspective and the introspective and the approach would be different to the teachings or whatever the subject is that's being discussed in that room? Think people in the congregation will have a different discussion than the pastors together in another room? So like the places aren't the definitive, they're just a probability. So where you go is going to, it's going to impact the probabilities of the kind of people that you're going to meet. And so the $200 gym is going to have probably people who are willing to pay $200 when they could pay $10. And this is a filter. So it's just like when you go to a mastermind, like there's people that pay $10,000 to go to a mastermind. And you think like, it's only like 6 hours long. Who pays $10,000 to go to a room? Well, it's because that there's other people in there that will pay $10,000 to be there. And so they're filtering out people with the money. Just like if you go to a store, okay? You go to a natural organic store, and then you go to your local Smith's, your local whatever the heck it is, you're going to find different psychological profiles of people in those stores. They value different things, okay? They have different goals. They have different lifestyles. And none of this is definitive. It's probabilities, okay? It's probabilities. If I go into a Louis Vuitton store, what are the probabilities of me meeting someone who only makes $32,000 a year? Probably pretty low. If I go to a Louis Vuitton store, what is the probability of me meeting someone who makes decent money for the fact that they're willing to spend $5,000, $2,000, $10,000 on one article of accessory? I'm just saying, like, think of a Rolex. Like who spends $10,000 or $20,000 on a Rolex? Who spends $80,000 on a Rolex? When you can go get a Timex for $30. They do the same thing, but they attract different people. And then there's a price barrier as well in between those things. And so you still have to go to places to get those things. So I'm trying to make it clear using some like extreme contrasts of how different places attract different people. And with those people come lifestyles, mindsets, and habits. So the person who can afford to buy a Louis Vuitton, they probably got some sort of good habit. They've got something in there. It doesn't mean that they're automatically a good person, but I'm saying at least in a wealth manner, in a wealth perspective, they have attributes that have resulted and created outputs for them to be able to buy a Louis Vuitton bag. Okay, so we're constantly getting programmed and we're constantly meeting people based on where we go. And we're being exposed to different information. So if you go to Scientology for religion, you go to Christian Science. So fun thing, I love sociology of religion. I went to, when I was in Washington, D.C., interning for the nonprofits, one of the churches that I went to was Christian Science. And everyone in there was just talking about prayer. Like they were listen, like screw everything else, just pray. If you just pray, you'll be good. That was like literally, that's what the whole religion was like. That was their number one, like everything was around prayer. And every single person there will give you like testimony after testimony after testimony after testimony after testimony of how prayer changed their life. Well, then you go to the non-denominational church. Well, they're talking about prayer, but they're also talking about other things, okay? Maybe they're talking about like family. They're talking about parables. They're talking about scriptures. They're doing all that stuff. And then you go to Scientology and they don't talk about any of that, okay? And then you're going to the church where you see a woman. So I went and was it evangelical? And I'm watching a woman preach. And I'm like, wow, this is really odd to me. If I were to go to a Mormon church, there would not be a woman preaching. If I were to go to a non-denominational church, there might be a woman preaching. If I were to go to a Catholic church, absolutely there would not be a woman preaching. So you see how the ideologies of the different places, just like in the crackhead, they're going to be plotting their next scheme. They're going to be plotting what they're going to steal that day so they can get more crack. Okay? They're going to be complaining. They're going to be negative. They're going to be in a mind of lack. But they're going to go make shit happen. I go to the gym. They're going to be talking about health. They're going to be focusing on nutrition. You can be able to get information there that you can't get in a church. If I go to church, I'm probably not going there to get information on health and fitness and diet and nutrition. If I go to church, I can get God. So like these things do overlap, but you see what I'm saying on like the intentionality and like the general atmosphere and the general like transfer of information, of ideologies, of habits, and then what attracts what kind of people those attract. And so to give you a really good idea too, is so like I have a family member right now, okay, jumping into entrepreneurship. And he goes to the local college to the entrepreneurship program, okay, where they have information, but they also only have beginners. Like nobody there knows anything. He can't go ask someone for information that's going to change his life. He can't look into what they're doing to succeed. He gets none of that because nobody's succeeding. Otherwise, they wouldn't be there. And so if you were to go to somewhere else, like a co-working space that costs much more money, but there's people running 7, 8, 9-figure companies there, how does that translate to the influence, the access to information, the relationships that you can build, and the ideologies that you can, embed within your understanding of this new playing field? And so like where you go is going to dictate the access to information. It's going to dictate the ideologies you're exposed to, the people that those ideologies and that information attracts, as well as the price barrier that allows certain people in and certain people out. The $10,000 mastermind. Listen, a 9-to-5er ain't paying $10,000. That's like a quarter of their entire yearly check. But then the guy running the business are like, yeah, that's nothing. It's a business write-off. I'm just going to write it off for taxes. And we made $200K last month. So we're Gucci. We're good. We're going to go spend $10,000. And so trust equals frequency. So the more that you see something, the more you're going to trust it. That's all advertising. That's all marketing is. And so the people, the information, the transferences of energies, is all going to be dictated on where you go and where you don't go. And I'm going to tell you guys a secret right now to literally transforming your whole life. And I use contrast here so you understand, because places goes to a whole nother realm. So this is a principle that changed my life. Okay. So this is, this is terrible. Okay. This is, our fictitious United States. Okay. You're right here. Okay. This is you. And this is over here. Okay. So we're creatures of habit. We're creatures of routine. And so your life isn't made of a lot of choices. Okay. Like we don't make as many choices as we have habits and routines. And so it's really easy for us to go to the same 3 restaurants, go to the same 2 stores, like do the same things that are familiar, that trust equals frequency has told us that we can trust, versus going and exploring new things. So that's why in marketing, that's why a lot of companies have to incentivize you to come in, even if they might be better than where you're currently going. Your mind is registering otherwise. So they have to convert you, they have to incentivize you, they have to convince you to come there. And then that's why they have their value ladder, and sometimes they'll have a lost leader in a sense, because they know that once they get their 3-4 touch points with you, and they get your foot in the door, it's easier to convert a current customer into a repeat customer than it is to get a new customer. Okay, so remember that. It's super important because that applies to life, that just applies to absolutely everything within the human behavior and the psychology of a human, the sciences of how humans function and interact and choose. We're creatures of habit. Okay, so it's like our survival versus success mind. So here, I was hooked on drugs. Okay, my whole life was built on drugs. Everyone I knew from the drug world was there. I knew how to get it. I'm just saying I was interwoven, like a lot of different triggers here. So I moved over to here. Guess what happened? For the first time in my life, I got 2 years sober. Okay? Because I completely wiped the people and the places and the things that I knew before. And I started over here where I didn't have familiarity. I had to go find new people. I had to go find new places. And what did I do? Instead of the crack house, I went to college. Okay? I went to college. Yeah, it's a terrible college. I went to college. Well, who's at a college? Well, most of them are not drug addicts. I mean, they might be struggling with alcohol and stuff, but like they're not crackheads. Even though I started college as a crackhead, living in a homeless shelter. It's another story. But once I got sober, and even when I wasn't, I would go here. Guess who's at the college, okay? Completely different people, different ideologies, different transferences of information, and more importantly, it was education. And so 2 years later after that, I come back to the same place that I couldn't get sober at. And guess what happened? I built a new framework of people, places, and things, new wiring, new ideologies, new exposures. So when I came back here, I had new inputs. And those new inputs had new outputs. And I was no longer susceptible to the triggers and the associations that I had before. And so the secret hack for anybody, just for anybody, is to move. So this is a place. This is places, guys. Go to another country. Explore. Shake up your identity. Shake up the people, places, and things and the influences that you have. And so your geographic area is a place. Your hometown is a place. Your work is a place. Like the people you meet at work. Okay? So if you're not running a business, you're kind of forced to be around people and you're getting energetically transferred with those people. And then the reward, the pain in the reward system is, fortifying different belief systems because of that place. So everywhere you go, you're getting different reward and pain. Like you go to the church, it's going to be different than going to the gym. And then if you go to the grocery store, and then you go to the crappy grocery store, those are all going to have different reward systems, and they're going to have different ideologies, and they're going to have different intentions within each of those different places. But then there's also the people that you find there. So while you may not go at a Whole Foods or some other expensive place for like more healthier food, you may not like go and like make a friend there. Yet the place is attracting a specific psychology of people that care about certain things, that have access to certain information that brought them there in the first place. Because if you're not aware, nor do you care about health, you're not going to be going to the healthier food place. You're just going to go to your local Walmart and just buy whatever. You're not going to know anything. No, you're not going to have the information to even make a different decision other than just buying stuff. I didn't know the food I was eating and how unhealthy it was until I was like 30 years old, 31 years old. And I'm like, oh wow, nobody taught me any of this. Nobody told me any of this. And why? It's because I started to go to college, started to go to the gym, and what happened? I got exposed to new information. And then what happened from that? My health and my diet habits changed as well. But previously, when I'm at the crack house and I'm in prison and all these other places and I'm around addicts, they don't care about any of that stuff. So I was never exposed to that information until I went to new places to get that new exposure, the new ideologies, the new comprehension of those exposures. And so if you're finding yourself stuck in the same routine, the same habit, it's hard to make decisions, it's hard to eat better, it's hard to make decisions that are, becoming of who you would like to be, change your places. You add in a place. So you start going to the gym. So if you're not going to a gym and you want to be healthy, you go to the gym. And then you make some friends at the gym. And what do you know? Now you have health in your sphere of influence. Okay? Now you're being exposed to healthy information. And then, hey, maybe while you're there, you get a personal trainer. Now you're getting one-on-one feedback and education on health, nutrition, fitness, form, and you're getting like one-on-one energetic exchange and help. And so all I can say this is a good majority of people don't ever leave their hometown, and they end up just basically following rank and file into like familial, generational like lifestyles. And so the best thing that you can do if you need to change your habits, you need to leave people, you need to change the people in your life, and we talked about the people before, is to move. Like that's just the best way to change and give yourself a clean slate to make new decisions with less habits and routines interfering with your ability to make new decisions. So like, all I'm saying is like, imagine you have, hey, let's do this. Imagine you have a porn addiction. Well, if I take away all of your digital, everything, and if you still got magazines, if they even still make them, like whatever it is, if I take all that, well, you can't watch porn now. Can you? No, you can't. If you have, all I'm saying is if you remove yourself from access to the things and the people and the places that are, interfering with your ability to make decisions, because we're creatures of habit and creatures of routine. We're not really creatures of choices. We don't make a lot of choices. Okay, we make a choice a few, 3, 4 times, and it becomes a habit. It becomes a click, run, trigger. You move. Move states. Okay? Move states. The best thing about being in business is it's just super easy to do that, because you can run it from anywhere, at least if you run a digital business. I've been to 5 countries this year already, okay? And part of the reason that I've been doing that is so I can shock my environment and put myself in new opportunities to build muscles that I've struggled to build with before, with being consistent, being disciplined, not letting my environment negatively impact me unconsciously. Like I've been putting myself in uncomfortable situations to give myself the opportunity to take my power back. And so the quickest way, if you're struggling in life, is just to move. It's just to move, because everything's going to change. The people you see every day is going to change. You're going to have to make new decisions. So if you move to a new place, you have to what? You have to find a new church, okay? Choice. It's no longer routine. You're not doing it because other people are doing it. You're not following in a groove. You got to find, a new gym. You got to find a new co-working space. You got to find a new house, new place to live. So you have options to put yourself in better situations and add in, upgrade the places you go so you have access to new people. Maybe you move and you're like, hey, I'm going to get the $200 gym membership because I want to make friends with people who are willing to pay $200 for a gym membership when they could pay $10. Like, that's going to always be my favorite example of everything, because I don't think it gets any more clear than that. It's the same as a $10,000 mastermind for 6 hours. You're paying $10,000 to be in a room for 6 hours. Like, it sounds crazy, but the relationships that you make of the people willing to spend $10,000 to be in a room with other people who are willing to spend $10,000 for only 6 hours, at 6 hours, there's some powerful relationship building, some powerful networking. Same with the gym. You're going to go network. You go to a co-working space. Are you going to go to the cheapest co-working space? or you're going to go to the, more prestigious premium co-working space. Even if you're working at home, well, maybe you just go to the co-working space so you can get around other people who are also doing similar things to you that you can now connect with and add people into your sphere of influence. I'm just saying, I can't list out everything, but what I can list out is the generalized, concept that I'm trying to share with you. And so, I want to challenge you over the next 7 days to start indexing and being consciously aware of where you're going and what kind of people that attracts and how it's influencing you. It's like if you're not going to church or you're not going to something where people of a greater cause are congregating, what happens if you do that? What's the worst that could happen? Okay, if you're not going to the gym right now and you want to get healthy and you know that your health's not in order, well, what happens if you add in the gym? Start with a $10 membership. Where are you going? Where are you meeting friends at? Where are your friends congregating? For work, where is work taking you? What are the kind of people at your work? So it's like now you can start with the people and understanding the people in your life and the understanding of the association of the people and the places and the influence to information and to different habits and different lifestyles. Start to consciously analyze these different environments and these different people. Because as soon as you start to understand how you as a human function and how your inputs create your outputs, you can then start to control where you go, who you surround yourself by, the probabilities of the kind of people and information, and then the habits that follow that you'll be exposed to, which become your identity. I started smoking cigarettes when I was 14 years old. Do you know why? Because my friends smoked cigarettes. Okay? How did I do drugs for the first time? Because my friends did drugs. Okay? If you look at your habits, you saw it somewhere. Okay? You were around someone who did it. You went somewhere and you saw it. So obviously there's you're walking around, you can't control those things. Start to pay attention on how you're being influenced and what you're being exposed to, because frequency equals trust. So the more that you are exposed, the more you're likely you are to do it. You see a McDonald's, you're hungry, and you just saw a McDonald's commercial, and then you pass the McDonald's, you might be highly probable to stop and get McDonald's if that's not one of your filters. You can't drag me into a McDonald's. You can't force me. I will starve to death before I eat that trash because I have filters and I have boundaries on health. Okay? And so those touch points don't affect me. But I wasn't always like that way. I used to eat McDonald's every damn day, 3 to 5 times a day. Bad. Okay? What is it? A spicy chicken sandwich with extra mayo. My favorite thing. I lived off those for a really long time. And then you're going to be able to start creating boundaries. And you'll be able to start filtering. And the more you become conscientious of the actual influences, because if you're not aware, you can't change it. Okay? So that is my challenge for you over the next week. Where are you going? What are the people that you're being exposed to? What kinds of people are those people? Because those are basically averages of your filters. So you have to accept something for it to come into your sphere of influence. Okay? And a lot of times you have to make hard decisions. And so that's why working in a 9 to 5 is so terrible, because you have such little control. You have such little control. If you got to go to the office, you have to be around these people. You have to interact with these people. I'm just saying, you become those people. You become that place. Working in a factory, it built a muscle on reflecting negativity. And at times I couldn't prevent it. And you've experienced the same thing. And a lot of your problems, your habits, your routines, your lifestyle are being reinforced by the people, places, and the things, the information, the habits that you're being exposed to. And so, for example, just give you one clear thing is like cigarettes right now. Like I saw someone smoking cigarettes. I'm on the little pouches right now, and it made me want to vape. And it's like I'm like, oh crap, oh wow, like because I'm quitting this, and then I saw this, and it made me want to vape, even though I'm not smoking a cigarette. I have these pouches, and so I'm just saying like, there's when you're transforming, you have to be ruthless and you have to be merciless. Okay, like you have to protect your energy at all costs, and you can alchemize that by the places you go, the people you interact with, based on the places that you go, which then convert into the different, information, habits, and habits. And then this goes digital as well. Where are you at online? What kind of content are you engaging with? Because the algorithms give you what you want. So you look at the feeds, it gives you a really good idea of what you've been focusing on, because that's how the algorithms work. They're going to give you what it knows based on your behavior you are interested in. So where are you congregating online? What kind of conversations are you having? What narratives are you giving attention to? Because each one of those is giving touch points and reinforcing different habits, beliefs, perspectives, triggers, etc., etc. So God bless. Hope this helps.